Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's House. Today we are spotlighting Boots by Nancy Sinatra, released March 1966. So 1966 was a very, very long time ago. That was actually 50 years ago. This is March right now, so that was 50 years ago this was released. It might have been released today. I don't even know. But there was like so much. It was such a turbulent time. Things were going crazy. It was Vietnam War. You know who the president was back in 1966? It was LBJ. And that's a funny story because Steven told me he knew a Spanish hooker by that name once. So 1966 was actually the worst year for one reason. Also related to John Lennon. That was the year he met Yoko Ono and set the world on a tailspin.
Fire.
And
She got a bad rap.
well, no way. She got it too good, actually. But you do know, what would you call a pain-in-the-ass girlfriend when you're in the band if it was not for Yoko, right?
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So she gave us a gift.
Exactly. So,
And you know, you can say that.
He's going to say to her when he gets up
You know,
there,
when he
man.
said, "Oh, I don't want to be a Yoko."
this is International Women's Day. Did you know that?
I did.
Yes.
Happy Ladies' Day.
So,
There you go.
in honor of International Women's Day, I fired Steven for the day, and I hired Janine Mazzaro to fill in for him.
Woohoo!
That,
Everybody.
It's funny how this worked out. Janine loves the Partridge Family so much that she wrote in and said, "Oh, I know every Partridge Family song ever written." So last week we did the Partridge Family song. So this week she came and she recorded a whole bunch of Partridge Family songs. I don't even remember how many.
They
3,
were
4.
awesome.
Dee Dee sang with her.
They were
And it was
beautiful.
awesome.
Oh, that's
She sounded
awesome.
better than David Cassidy.
Well, thank you.
Would you like to be referred to as the female David Cassidy?
That's fine. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I'm all right.
Because you even said
was
that your
beautiful.
daughter said you kind of look like
The
him
hair?
now, right? We're here on International Women's Day. Let's have a forum now, a panel, and discuss all the issues facing women today.
Oh, do you have enough time?
Hello, Dee Dee.
Well, all right, let me start this off because I was thinking about this. Do you guys think you have it easier or worse than, say, my grandmother who raised 4 children by herself, working at a lunch counter, who gave birth behind the counter in Queens, New York, and went right back to serving coffee at Bickford's on Lefferts Boulevard?
Oh, way easier.
And that's a true story.
I don't know about giving birth behind the counter, but
It sounded good.
the other part was
Yeah.
good.
Color.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So,
I don't know.
We have epidurals now. It's great.
well, do you know my theory about that? You want to hear about that? How childbirth is actually harder on the man than it is on the woman?
No freaking
No,
way.
come
There is
on.
no way.
That and
You can have 10 kids and your body suffers no trauma.
But the thing
I don't
is,
want to
it's like-
hear it. No.
Because it always happens in the middle of the night, and I'm like up all night. I
Really?
gotta sit in the hospital room.
Why don't you pass a bowling ball out your coolie and you
Hello.
tell me how
I'm
easy?
Very
sorry, it was so
inconvenient for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It never happens like you just go in the afternoon.
Really? How
and
about
it
an
comes right-
episiotomy? Have them slice you from front to back and
All
then
right, so
sew
that's
you
my
back
other
together.
theory.
All right.
My other theory
Yeah.
is that tattoos are more painful than childbirth.
I've never had a
never
tattoo,
had
but
a
I
tattoo
highly doubt
either.
that.
All right, so we've covered all the women issues
Oh,
of the day, I guess. I'm like the new Phil Donahue, I think. You know that.
You might be.
And so sensitive to all women's issues. So if you
yeah.
have any women's questions, feel free to ask me. I'm good with that. So actually, what I really want to talk about is what I've been going through this past week here. It's all about me now. Forget you and your women's issues. International Women's Day is over. It's now Dennis Day.
It's all Dennis.
So yes.
Isn't that every day?
I don't know where to begin. All right, I'm going to
Are
begin
you an
with-
only child?
No,
No.
I'm the youngest
You
of
act
5.
like an only child.
Youngest of 5.
Youngest of 5.
Maybe
That's why.
that
Craving
explains it more.
attention.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Craving attention.
Exactly, and that
Oh.
describes, my childhood.
I get it now.
Because I was the runt of the litter too, and I could never get to the scooter pies.
Scooter pie.
My mother would bring home a box of scooter pies,
And they were
and
gone.
all those wild brothers and one sister, they would be ripping out the bag, and then I'd fight my way up, and it would be like empty bag with crumbs there.
Aw.
And
Wait, wasn't there
Yes.
only 5 scooter pies? Your grandmother took them.
no, my grandmother would never eat my scooter pie. No way.
okay.
She would kill a man for me to get a scooter pie.
She was
But anyway, I want to talk about Making of a Murderer. Has anyone seen this show?
I
know
did.
you've seen it,
Yeah.
but have you
No.
guys
No.
heard about it?
Heard about
Well,
it.
yes, it's the most controversial show around now. It's about some dim-witted guy in Wisconsin who was railroaded for rape, and he spent 18 years in jail, and he got out, and then he was then convicted of a murder like a year later after he was suing the town for wrongfully convicting him, and he was going to bankrupt the whole town. So it was like, and they show all the evidence being planted, and it's just, you got to watch it. It's a great show.
Great. It's riveting.
But I am going through a similar thing right now because a couple weeks back, I got a parking ticket. It was right after it snowed, right? So I parked there. There's no sign, and the curb is completely covered in snow, so you can't see the curb, right? So I
Right.
come out, and there's a parking ticket for parking on a yellow curb. And I was like, I'm taking this to the Supreme Court, right? So I went down to court last week, and, they only have court once a month around here. And so I go in there and I get on the first line and I got to wait to see the prosecutor. And I'm online with father rapers and murderers.
God.
Father rape.
Yes, that's
Oh,
what the guy
God.
right next to me. He was there before he raped his father.
Oh,
So
my God.
anyway, I get up there, so I'm thinking, all right, by the time the prosecutor sees me, he's going to be so happy. He's going to say, "Oh, sorry to inconvenience you, Mr. Margello. Get out of here." So I go up and I start explaining it to the prosecutor. And he says, "All right, go to the courtroom. We're going to have a trial." I was like, what? So I say, all right, hold on, I'll go in. So I open the door to go in the courtroom. There's 10,000 people in there.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be the worst day ever. It's like 12 hours ahead of me, right? So I go sit down, and the first woman in front already being tried. And it's so embarrassing that, everybody in the courtroom is watching you be on trial right
You're
there.
hearing all of that.
Yeah, so she ran over a kid with a Range Rover. It was an old woman who ran over a 3-year-old kid. And she's facing the same penalties that I was. So I was
Doesn't
thinking
make
to
sense.
myself, all right, I made a big mistake. I should have pled guilty. And I should have paid the fine. But it was $54. So I said,
$54?
right. If it was
That's
24, I would have said,
Right.
all right. But 54
That's it.
seems over the
Hey,
limit.
I
They pushed
paid
it too far.
$285 because I didn't let somebody cross the street in Fairhaven.
Whoa.
Well, that was
Wow.
your...
$54 is nothing.
well, anyway. So
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
parked
I should have hit the guy, so at least it would have been.
yeah, you would only had to pay just the same fee, really.
Cheap it is.
At least there was some kind of reason for it.
So then I'm in the courtroom. That woman goes, and then there's a drug case after that, and then they call up a parking ticket, and then it's me already, and I'm
Yay.
bypassed like 100 people. So I said, all right, this is great. So I get up there, and I'm talking to the judge, and I'm all excited to show my case, and he goes, I'm ready to pull out my pictures, and he goes, I don't know anything about this case. We're not ready to try it. The cop's not here. It's your word against his, and the burden of proof is on you. So we're going to have to come back in April. And he bangs his gavel down. And I'm like, wait, but I got pictures.
Cop wasn't there.
And they didn't want to hear
wanna
it.
hear it.
man.
But, it doesn't make sense because I
doesn't.
called up when I got the ticket and I said, I'm pleading not guilty. He said, okay, blah, 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 we'll write you down. So therefore they should be ready. But the whole thing is a corrupt system because they want the money. It's
thought-
all about
Oh, yeah.
the money. And now you see how it's exactly like Making of a Murderer, right? Because
You were framed.
Exactly.
the next
exactly.
day,
You were framed.
exactly. And the next day when I was driving to work, I must have passed 10 cops like hiding in the bushes on my way to
Right.
work. I might be paranoid, but I pretty much think they were hiding and
watching
waiting
you.
for me and watching me.
So you
now-
going back?
Now I'm going back. I was
April.
thinking, all right, maybe I shouldn't, but now I'm going undercover and I'm exposing this whole thing, Making of a Murderer Part 2. And we're going to follow this. So enough of that. We'll be following this case very closely.
Very closely.
I gotta say.
Very closely.
All right.
It
So
is.
now
Very
we're going to go to Cha-Cha with the word on the street, the gossip columnist to the stars,
Yes.
and see
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going on in the terrible world of celebrity.
Well, I'll start from the beginning. But the
Yeah,
end
are you gonna
is
tell
she
us how
was
that happened, though?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go.
But just yesterday, she was awarded in the courts $55 million for her peeping Tom ordeal.
All right, I got to hear what happened first, and then I'll give my judgment.
Okay. Yeah. Michael Barrett was an insurance salesman. And he, yes,
that's good.
an insurance salesman, and he had tendencies to do this. He had videotaped women before, but what he did was he had been seeing this woman Erin on the news, and he kind of liked her, I
Became
guess.
obsessed with her.
Obsessed
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
very good word. So he had to go on a business trip anyway, and he found out that she was going to be in Nashville at a sporting event. So he goes to the hotel where she's at, and he doesn't know what room she's in, but he's smart enough to know that if you call from the house phone in the hotel and ask for a room, the hotel room
They'll
will
connect you.
pop up. Yes. So from the hotel house phone, he calls and asks to be connected to Andrew's room. They connect him, and he gets her room number.
Okay.
So he goes and he wants to check in, and they tell him there's no room available. He goes up to the 10th floor, and he sees that the maid is cleaning the room next to her. So he quick runs downstairs, and he says the people in that room are checking out. So after a while, they give him that room. So he's able to, in the hallway, hear her on the phone. He can hear what she's doing. So he waits for her to leave the room. And what he does is he takes the keyhole out, and he makes a fake one and replaces it with so he
goodness.
can look in.
It's a lot of work.
I know, my God.
So what happened is, hold on, let me go here now.
Wow.
So he
You just
okay.
watch porn for free on any
Okay.
channel on the internet.
You know,
you gotta go
yeah.
through all this trouble.
He puts in a fake. So he hears the shower go on. So he's looking through the people, and he's waiting and he's waiting. And then after he decides to videotape her. So he waits. He hears the water
Through
go
the
off
peephole.
through the peephole. He videotapes her for like 4.5 minutes. She's undressed. She's naked, and then he stops. The trouble started when he tried to sell and put out this videotape. So he does. And of course, he's everyone knows who this girl is. She's a very popular sportscaster. She is completely devastated. Her life is she thinks her life is ruined. She, for months she thought, people thought that this was a publicity stunt. She's worried about her family. Okay. He serves 2 years in jail for this.
Wow.
She sues him and
the
the
hotel.
hotel. Right.
Right. That's what
So
I'm
she's
saying.
awarded a little over $55 million. But
I gotta say-
she's never going to get the money, though.
Because that sounds excessive. I gotta tell you that for $55 million, she would do hardcore porn anyway. So
Oh, jeez.
for $55 million, I would perform bestiality on the White House lawn on July 4th. Just putting that out there.
Wow.
This is a family show, by the way.
I'm going to have nightmares.
Okay.
A very good story. Now I know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
And that's my
because you
ruling.
did
1 million.
ask me,
1 million is
yes.
fair.
I don't know. I think $6 million is good.
Sorry, I've already
Okay.
ruled. Explosive news stories.
Thank
there.
Wow.
you. Yes.
Between
Good
that and
job.
making of a murderer, we're a deep expose team here. What do they call that? Undercover journalism. That's what we are now. So, all right. So now we're gonna welcome back Dee Dee, who hasn't been back in like a month and a half.
Thank you.
Cheers for Dee Dee.
I'm back.
So tell us a little. You can't go through a whole month's worth of stuff, but tell us the most exciting thing you've been doing.
All right. Well, I don't remember half the stuff I do anyway.
But you got to remember at least the reason
Okay.
you were gone
There-
for
I
3
do
months.
remember 2 things. Okay. On February 25th, I went to see Black Sabbath
Oh,
at Madison
nice.
Square Garden.
Wow.
And it was a very good show. It was lovely.
I would
it was
bet.
good.
It was
It was really good, and
Awesome.
I'm not gonna get into it. It was just it rocked,
Yeah,
and
we all know.
I headbanged, and yeah. got a
Did you go with your
t-shirt.
son?
My son and one of his friends,
Nice.
and one of my friends, and some other friends. It was like 8 of us or something, and it was and it's funny. I looked at the row behind me; it was all guys. There was not one woman in the row behind me, and I'm like, "Wow, okay." And then I looked in front of me, and there was a couple that must have been at least 80 years old.
Wow.
They were so old, and they
At a
were
Black
rock.
Sabbath show.
They were
I love
old. There were lots of real old people. Like I'm not talking 65. That's not old. I'm talking 70 something, and like really,
Really?
old people. Yeah.
That's
and
too
I
old
said,
to like
"Wow,
Black Sabbath, I think."
they can afford to buy the tickets."
I guess. But,
And that's why they were there.
The good point.
That's a good, very good point.
But it was kind of cool to see that, they came to see an
All
old
these
geezer
groups.
play, and all the old geezers were there rocking out.
How old is Ozzy now? He's in his 60s. right?
67?
Yeah.
I think 66 or 67, something like that.
They're
Yeah.
all around that age.
And you know
yeah.
what? He got pitchy at the end, and he forgot some words, but it doesn't matter because he's
Yeah,
Ozzy.
Absolutely. He's Ozzy.
He's
I didn't
Ozzy,
care. I
right.
thought he was awesome. I'm pitchy, so nobody cares. And the reason I had a leave of absence was because Laura and I, Strawberry Pie, we had our originals show with Colossal Street Jam, Pepper Wine, and the Johnny Hathaway Band at the Saint last Saturday. And we did about an hour set of mostly originals. We snuck in a couple of obscure covers, but our original stuff was played full band for the very first time ever
Wow.
at all. We never did it before anywhere. And we got some guys together and we just practice our butts off, and that's why I haven't been here because I've been working on the show. And we had such a packed house at the Saint, you couldn't move. It was so packed.
You didn't even know that we were there. It was so
I
packed.
That's how packed it was. I swear, I'm like, when I saw the picture, I go, I didn't see them there.
I said we better take a picture to
That's
prove we were
right.
there.
Yeah, but that's how packed you
wanna
saw.
credit.
It was
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah, it
and
was
thank you
great.
to everybody.
Welcome.
It was
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house, only at 474 The Mix. So now we're going to talk a little about Janine here because she is the biggest Partridge Family fan in the world. So she missed out on the Partridge Family show, so we're going to have a little post-Partridge Family wrap-up starring Janine here. And she brought her lunchbox here, which I think you should show everybody. Tell everybody about this awesome lunchbox.
Metal lunchbox from 4th grade, 1972, circa. Did not want mom to throw it out. Still has the original thermos.
Oh, my
Even
God.
has the Partridge Family series book
Oh, nice.
Oh my God!
That is awesome.
from when I was little. I used
Wow.
to read all
A
that stuff.
haunted hall. Nice.
And the thermos.
That is, yeah.
So
having that thermos, that's
Good
awesome.
condition.
Yes.
I think it's probably about $200 on eBay.
Really?
Wow.
I know they're going. They're
Yeah.
going. They're hot.
That's
I'm not
awesome.
selling mine. Anyhow.
Yeah, you gotta keep that forever.
Love David since oh my God, since I'm 10. So now I just told you how old I am.
So now, last week you missed it, but it showed in air yet. I saw David Cassidy, Madison Square Garden, 1972. That's where I got this book from, and that's where I kept it from. And where's my little bus? Did I put that back, Bill? Oh, the little Partridge Family bus is up there.
I left my bus
So,
home.
so I wonder, like you see in the back of this, you can write to the official fan club.
Yep.
I wonder if you write to it now, if you'll get any
wonder if we get an
response.
answer,
Yeah, right. It'll get delivered to your house. Yeah.
We should try. Let's try.
I've met David quite a few times.
Oh, really?
He
Tell
was
us about that. Yeah,
Yes. Cried like a baby, kissed me on the cheek.
Wait, old David
Like
Cassidy
I
or
met David
young
when he was
Pat?
on Broadway. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Nice.
And I want to say it was probably about 1984.
All right.
And he was on Broadway, and him and his brother Sean, they were doing a lot of Broadway stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is my chance to finally see him. So I waited outside the stage door, and he's coming out, and I run to his limo, and I'm the first one there. And I'm with my playbill, and I'm like, David, I've loved you since 1972. I said, please, I said, I know every Partridge Family song. I said, you were such an influence in my life. And I'm crying, crying and shaking.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
he's signing my thing, and he's got his head down. He's like, get this lady out of here.
Oh, really? Was that nice?
And he kissed me.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Have you washed that face since?
No, I have not.
All right. So here, I have a trivia question for you. What was David Cassidy's wife's name, the famous actress who he was married to?
Kaylin.
Oh, she knows everything. Wow, look at that. You broke the show when I did that. So we have to be careful. No screaming into the microphone.
Did I
I
scream?
didn't do that. He did.
Yeah, all right. This album was released March 1966, the debut album by Nancy Sinatra. Her father was Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And she was born
Chairman
in
of the
Jersey
board.
City in 1940. And that Sinatra had 3 kids, Nancy, Frank Jr.,
Right.
and little Tina,
Right.
and all with his first wife. Her name was Nancy Barbato. And now here's the funny thing. Sinatra met Barbato in Long Branch, New Jersey in the late 1930s, where he spent most of the summer working as a lifeguard. He agreed to marry her after an incident at the rustic cabin, which led to his arrest.
Oh.
So now I'm going to tell you about this
There was an incident.
Yeah, so this incident that they're talking about, that other band members said even at a young age, Frank, was a big attraction to the ladies. And one night, so the story goes, Frank was invited out to the parking lot for a personal encounter. Unfortunately, a policeman tapped on the car window, sending the woman into a panic. She started screaming rape, and Frank was arrested. The next day, the woman who was married dropped the charges, and the case was dismissed. But still, that is the incident at the rustic cabin.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, there you go. I broke that story now, too.
Wow.
So,
Awesome,
all right, so now, Nancy Sinatra, I kind of think that if our father wasn't Frank Sinatra, this album wouldn't be here right
No.
now. But I'm glad it was. No, but she did do great. And, of course, this song is awesome. Everybody knows these boots are made for walking. The number one song. And she had such a cool look. Look at that look there.
Very
mini
far out.
Very pretty.
I like the look on the back.
1966.
66.
So what the whole show's about.
All right, just making sure.
So with the mini skirts and her boots and
she was
that
rocking.
dance and that song is so good, and there's 10 million versions of that song. Everybody did a cover, but she had a lot of good songs on here. She did mostly like remakes of she does Rolling Stones, As Tears Go By, Beatles,
Right,
Day
I like
Tripper,
that.
Bob Dylan, a whole bunch of awesome songs. So this is a very, very good album, I gotta say. But my favorite song by Nancy Sinatra is actually Bang Bang, which me and Dee Dee recorded before,
Yes, we
and you'll
did.
get to hear that too.
Yeah.
We did it in one take. Bam, bam, bang, bang. We knocked it out of the park. So, so she had a really good career, I got to say.
Yeah.
She started out actually in movies. She was in a movie called The Wild Angels with Peter Fonda, which was a box office smash. It was about Hell's Angels, biker guys and stuff. And then her next movie was with Elvis. It was called Speedway, which is another smash hit. And then she came out with this album, and then she had TV shows. She was everywhere. She was married a whole bunch of times. And then her husband died. Her second husband passed away, right? And this was... so she was out of the limelight for quite a while, but after he died, she wanted to get back into the business. So this is when she posed for Playboy. Do you remember that? Back in 1995, and it was very controversial because she was 72 years old at the time when she...
What?
No, she was 54 years old when she was posed, but it was very shocking at the time. But she looked great still. She was a very pretty girl, and that was that. But she hasn't really made any movies or anything that I can think of. But she was on The Sopranos as well as Frank Sinatra Jr. Remember that? She played a role
really?
on played herself.
On The Sopranos.
Yeah.
I remember.
So, and back in the '60s, she went to Vietnam. She used to entertain the troops.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta say, watching that video for Bang Bang, it was the weirdest thing. People were so weird back in the '60s. I gotta say,
Oh.
she sang Bang Bang, and at the end, it was like on a TV show. She just rolled off the stage. She was just like laying there singing, and then instead of
the
getting up and walking
freaky lights,
out,
yeah,
she just
she
rolled.
Like she was...
That was a
Dead.
strange time.
I don't know. Everybody's crazy
That was
back
done.
then.
They were all doing drugs.
Watching the video
Stuff.
to learn the
Yeah.
song, and I'm like, okay.
So I gotta say, the weirdest thing is the back of this album. Look at this, the liner notes here. It's like, I don't know who's talking or whatever, but it's some guy who wrote the liner notes. And he's like, how should I sing this? So I guess this is her asking him for advice or something. And he says, how should I sing this? And his reply is, like a 16-year-old girl who's been dating a 40-year-old man, but it's all over now. That is the sickest
That's
thing I've
creepy.
ever heard.
You can't do that now.
No, you
They
can't.
would not allow that
Yeah,
now.
think about
It would
that.
be
There was-
censored.
There was a lot of songs
That's
back
kinda
then.
creepy.
Like
That's
Chuck
very
Berry,
creepy.
Sweet Little 16.
All 16.
Oh, yeah, that's
You
true.
can't
Yeah.
be writing songs about
You're
16-year-old
16,
girls.
You're
These-
beautiful in your mind.
These are grown men. Well, they're over 18. Didn't we have laws against this back in the 60s?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we did. But did you know in 1963, Frank Sinatra Jr., who was 18 at the time, was kidnapped from a Lake Tahoe casino and released 2 days later after his father paid a $250,000 ransom.
Wow.
This is a lot of stuff I'm breaking today. This is,
Wow.
I'm like Dan Rather.
This is good stuff.
What's the frequency, Kenneth? Welcome back, live from Dennis's house, only on 474 The Mix. So now it's time to do the news And we're going to smell the album while I do the news. And this looks like a good album, 1966.
Multitasking.
To smell.
That
Very
probably
nice.
smells good.
Pass it down.
Like boots.
Wow, that's a 50-year-old album.
That sure is.
You know how many people have smelled that album? Probably not that many if you think about
It
it.
actually smells nice.
Yeah, it would be weird enough to
check it
do
out.
that.
You.
It's not musty.
very
That one's a
nice.
good one.
I love this
Son,
album.
what's that stain there? I don't like the looks of that. Have that analyzed when you're analyzing OJ's knife. So anyway, all right, so now we're going to do the news. I'm a serious journalist. Do I have 2 copies of this? Don't try to read my story. All right, here we go. Here's the headline. All the news that's not fit to print. Woman, I'm choking. Woman flushes boyfriend's hamster for liking other woman's picture. A devastated 31-year-old man is left without his beloved pet hamster after his girlfriend flushed it down the toilet because he liked another woman's profile picture on Facebook.
Seems reasonable.
Wow.
International Women's Day. There's a perfect story to bring it all in. So, according to police, the woman saw the image on the news feed and squeezed her phone so hard it shattered. I've never seen a criminal act of jealousy like this, states the arresting officer. After she confronted the man, she knocked over his hamster cage, picked the little guy up, threw him in the toilet, and flushed it down. Animal rights activists have been protesting outside her house and place of employment. The woman needs psychological help and prison time.
Really?
And a fine, of course. States a protester holding a sign that reads, "Justice for Dr. Snuggles." Acts like this are intolerable against animals. It's okay for people, but not for animals.
Yeah,
Aw.
So-
I agree with that.
The judge ruled the woman is to undergo 30 days in a psychiatric facility for evaluation before her trial. The woman's boyfriend was released from hospital after suffering near fatal wounds from a suicide attempt. He stated, "I don't want to live in this world without Dr. Snuggles." There you
I
have
think
it.
they both need help.
I think, yeah, serious stuff.
You mentioned it before. George Martin passed away.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
5th Beatle, who was very instrumental. There'd be no Beatles without George Martin, I have to say, because they knew nothing, and he took them under their wing, and he was experienced
brilliant.
engineer, and he, a great jazz recording guy, and he was with them their whole career. And, he helped them through all those experimental phases in the studio. And he'll be missed, but he led a good long life. He died at 90.
Right.
In his sleep, probably.
Peacefully.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sad.
very good.
Yeah.
So, no, but I got to say that this moves me up one more notch because I was the 6th Beatle. So now, after Billy Preston passed away and George and John and all that, I'm just waiting for Yoko. As soon as Yoko goes, I'm an official Beatle. All right, thanks for joining us here on Live from Dennis's House. Only at 474 The Mix, where the music matters. See you next week. We'll be doing another classic album, Behaving Badly. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, DennisMargillo.com. Watch me on the radio. And new cable stations. We're going to be on Staten Island Cable and Manhattan Cable starting March 22nd. Over 1 million people.